Stop taking vitamin D at night, the 2026 circadian warning you need to hear. If you have been taking your vitamin D supplement in the evening with dinner or right before bed, a June 2026 clinical paper tracking vitamin D receptor circadian gene regulation just revealed something that should immediately change your supplementation timing. This is not a minor optimization tweak. It is a fundamental biological conflict that, when triggered nightly, is actively dismantling two of your body's most powerful anti-aging systems simultaneously. To understand why the timing of vitamin D supplementation matters so profoundly at the cellular level, you need to understand what the vitamin D receptor actually is and why evolution wired it to the body's biological clock in the first place. Your vitamin D receptor, abbreviated VDR, is a nuclear receptor protein found inside virtually every cell in your body. When activated by the biologically active form of vitamin D called calcitriol, the VDR travels to the cell nucleus and directly regulates the expression of hundreds of genes involved in immune function, calcium metabolism, and, critically, circadian rhythm regulation. The VDR is not just a passive nutrient receptor. It is a master clock synchronizer, one of the primary mechanisms your body uses to calibrate its biological timing based on environmental signals. The reason the VDR has this clock-regulating function is deeply rooted in human evolutionary history. For the vast majority of human evolution, vitamin D was obtained exclusively through one source: UVB radiation from high noon sunlight hitting skin. This meant that vitamin D activation was biologically linked to midday, the peak of the daily solar cycle. Your VDR evolved in an environment where vitamin D signal meant it's noon. The biological clock wiring that developed around that association is ancient and deeply embedded. When you take a vitamin D supplement at night, you are sending a false noon signal to your biological clock. The active D3 metabolites from your supplement bind to VDR and trigger the receptor's clock-regulating function at the precise moment when your body's circadian machinery is supposed to be winding down for sleep. The VDR activation modulates the expression of key circadian transcription factors, specifically REV-ERB alpha and ROR alpha, which are the molecular gears that drive your biological clock forward and regulate the timing of virtually every physiological process in your body. When these clock genes receive a noon signal at 11 p.m., the consequences cascade through multiple biological systems. Melatonin synthesis in the pineal gland is suppressed because melatonin production is supposed to occur in the dark phase of the circadian cycle, and the false noon signal from VDR activation conflicts with that programming. Sleep architecture degrades. The deep slow-wave sleep phases that drive the most intensive biological repair are compressed. And the entire downstream cascade of nighttime repair processes that depend on proper circadian timing gets disrupted. The MOTS-c connection is where the 2026 research becomes particularly significant for anyone interested in anti-aging and metabolic health. MOTS-c is a peptide that was only discovered relatively recently, and its discovery was genuinely remarkable because it comes from a completely unexpected location. MOTS-c is encoded not in your nuclear DNA but directly inside your mitochondrial DNA. It is one of a small number of mitochondrial-derived peptides, biological signals produced by the mitochondria themselves, rather than by the cellular nucleus. Under conditions of healthy deep sleep and intact circadian timing, MOTS-c is synthesized inside mitochondria and then translocated to the cell nucleus, where it acts as a powerful metabolic regulator. The research has documented MOTS-c's role in activating AMPK, the cellular energy sensor that triggers fat burning and metabolic renewal. It reduces age-related insulin resistance in skeletal muscle by restoring the sensitivity of muscle cells to insulin signaling. It supports muscle protein synthesis and tissue repair during the overnight recovery window. And it promotes the mobilization and oxidation of visceral fat stores, the deep organ surrounding fat, that is most resistant to dietary intervention. MOTS-c is essentially your body's natively produced overnight metabolic reset, a molecular signal synthesized in your mitochondria and deployed to your cell nucleus during deep sleep to execute the fat-burning muscle repair and insulin sensitivity restoration that your body needs to maintain its metabolic health as you age. When nighttime vitamin D supplementation disrupts your circadian clock genes, it compromises the precise biological timing that MOTS-c production and deployment depends on. The mitochondria need the correct circadian environment to synthesize MOTS-c at the right time. The translocation to the nucleus requires the cellular conditions that proper deep sleep creates. When those conditions are disrupted by a false noon signal from late-night VDR activation, the MOTS-c factory does not produce its output at the right time or in the right quantities. The overnight metabolic reset that MOTS-c was supposed to deliver does not happen. And the progressive metabolic decline that its nightly repair work was preventing continues unchecked. The fix for the timing problem is straightforward. Take vitamin D in the morning with your first meal when the biological signal aligns with the evolutionary context the VDR was designed for. Morning vitamin D activates the VDR when your circadian machinery is in its daytime high activity phase where that noon signal belongs. But the deeper issue, restoring the mitochondrial energy baseline required for robust MOTS-c production regardless of circadian disruptions, requires direct mitochondrial support. CoQ10 maintains the electron transport chain efficiency that powers the energy-intensive protein synthesis processes inside mitochondria, including the synthesis of MOTS-c and the other mitochondrial-derived peptides that drive overnight metabolic repair. When CoQ10 is present at adequate concentrations in mitochondrial membranes, the mitochondria have the energy baseline to produce MOTS-c even when circadian timing has been partially disrupted by lifestyle factors. PQQ activates mitochondrial biogenesis through the PGC1 alpha pathway, growing new mitochondria with intact circadian clock gene sensitivity and full MOTS-c synthesis capacity. New mitochondria are not carrying the accumulated epigenetic disruption that years of nighttime supplement mistakes and chronic circadian disruption impose on aging mitochondria. They respond correctly to the biological timing signals that MOTS-c production requires. They synthesize the peptide at the right time. And they restore the overnight metabolic reset that your body's native anti-aging factory was always designed to deliver. Mitolyn combines CoQ10 and PQQ in one formula built around this mitochondrial clock protection and MOTS-c production support principle. Fix the timing of your supplements. Protect your biological clock from the signals that disrupt it. And give your mitochondria the energy infrastructure to keep your anti-aging peptide factory running through every night regardless of the lifestyle challenges your circadian rhythm faces. I want to be fully transparent with you. The link in my description is an affiliate link. I might earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. I only share what I genuinely think is helpful. Protect your repair factory. Check the link in my description for the 2026 Mitolyn Circadian Protocol. And if you want cutting-edge cellular health content every single day, hit subscribe. We post every morning. This video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet or lifestyle.